program. Let's start. Friends, this is one of the best books I would say that I read in 2019, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Quite interesting book. We were about to do the review for this book last year itself, but for some reasons we couldn't do. I'm very happy that today I'm able to do it with a lot of people from different parts of, I can't say world, but at least different parts of India have joined. Who is this Charles Duhigg? He is actually, very renowned writer. He has been even nominated for Pulitzer Prize. And basically, he's an investigative reporter who writes for the New York Times. I'm quite surprised that a man with that background is able to write this book. He has won numerous awards for his work and has appeared on TV shows, such as Frontline and the News Hour. The book runs around 400 odd pages. I don't have the physical book. I got only the Kindle version of it. So the book basically explains what an important role habits play in our lives, whether they are good ones like brushing teeth every day morning or going for your walk, or bad ones like smoking or excessive drinking. Filled with research-based findings and engaging anecdotes. That's the best part of this book, because this book has got innumerable number of anecdotes, examples. I've taken only few because if we say everything, then we are not doing any justice to the book. At the end of the exercise, we want people to go back and read the book. So a lot of such examples are given in this book. And it provides easy tips for changing habits, both at an individual level as well as at an organizational level. Before that, what exactly habit means to us? We start doing something repeatedly. We are programmed to do that. For example, when I wake up in the morning, I go to the restroom, pick up a toothbrush, and start brushing my teeth. I never miss that, right? Like that, you don't miss it. And while brushing, aren't we allow our thoughts to wander? Yes, we don't focus there. We have so many thoughts. What has to be done for the rest of the day, all that. Most of the activities in our day, we do this way. Another example, there's a very common example. We drive from home to office. We take our car and we drive. Once we get into the car, we ignite the engine, we shift gears, using clutch, look through the windows, rear, side windows, everything. And then we look at the traffic, then we take left turn, right turn, all kinds of things, and finally reach our office. So we take 30 minutes. Now tell me, what would we normally think in those 30 minutes? Is it on how to drive the car or checking routes to reach our office? Absolutely no. We may have hundreds of thoughts. Most of them could be stray thoughts. Suppose if I hear a song in my radio, immediately my thoughts will shift to that movie, or all other things associated, memories connected with that movie, isn't it? Then we look at somebody on the road, then so many thoughts. Also, we reach our destination. I go to my office without an assistance from the Google map. Simply I drive. I know where to take left, where to take right, reach my office. Because we know the route from our home to office is embedded in our brain, isn't it? And also these activities are performed using our subconscious mind. On the other hand, suppose I go to Bangalore for the first time in a new city. I have to drive from point A to point B. That is also for the first time. Then I would focus my attention on the route and on the road, isn't it? I will not engage in any conversations. In the first case, we have done our work effortlessly. And in the second case, we have put in so much of efforts. So, in a nutshell, we can say repeated actions help us to perform a task effortlessly and also efficiently. For example, in the last 2 weeks, I've been, performing, learning cooking in my house. If my wife, if she does the same dish, she will do it. If that's what she used to say. If I go there, I will do it in no time and come. She says my efficiency is very low because every time I have to be very conscious whether I put the salt into it or not. So a repeated action. So if I go on perform that action, then I will do it effortlessly, right? So the process of, so this is very important. The process of turning a sequence of actions into an automatic routine is known as chunking. The chunking, and it forms the basis of all habit formation. So remember the keyword chunking. In 1990, a group of researchers at MIT were studying mice to learn more about. I'll just show you that slide later. So these guys were, just hold on. I'll share that slide with you. Are you able to see this slide now?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, these researchers, they were trying to learn more about how habits are formed in the brain. See, the brain study has developed only in the last 20 to 30 years, especially the last 10 years is after this, different kind of scanners have come, people able to record so many things. So in the 1990s, a group of researchers, I said, from MIT, they studied how, the habits are formed in the brain. The mice had to see, you see in the corner there is a mice, right? The mice had to find their way to a piece of chocolate that had been placed at the end of that T-shaped maze. This picture is not used in the book. This I simply picked it up from the internet to understand. So if you look at there, that's not a chocolate. So don't get confused seeing that yellow color. So using special equipment, the researchers could monitor the brain activity of the mice as they sniffed their way to the chocolate. Very interesting. When the mice are first put into the maze, their brain activity spiked because of the chocolate smell. They could sense it. They could sense. Now they know that somewhere something is there to interestingly for them. So they know they have to they have to go through that T-shaped one, find out left or right, and the end of that T they have to see the left ponuma, right ponuma. Then looking at its smell, they turn left and got it. This is what has happened for the very first time. When the researchers repeated this experiment again and again, daily they now notice something very interestingly. As the mice gradually learned where the chocolates was and memorized how to go, see, எலி கூட memorize பண்ணுது, how to get there. So they completely embedded that route, go straight and take left, then you get your chocolate. They have noticed that suddenly the brain activity of the mice has decreased substantially. First time the brain activity spiked. So repeatedly by doing and without any effort, it could go to the end and take left. This is again an example of turning a sequence of actions into an automatic routine. Okay, so this is a role of evolution. This is very important. This is a role of evolution and is very crucial and critical for living beings. நீங்களா இருந்தாலும் சரி, நானா இருந்தாலும் சரி, மைஸா இருக்கலாம், கவ்வா இருக்கலாம், டாக், ஃபார் ஆல் ஆஃப் தம் இட் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். நீங்க பிளேட் எடுத்தோடனே நாய்க்கு வாயிலெல்லாம் ஜொல் வருது, அதெல்லாம் எப்படி வருது? Because it allows the brain, why this kind of things are happening, why this kind of automatic routine is happening? Because it allows the brain to save energy and perform common tasks efficiently. நீங்க throughout மார்னிங் 6 o'clock நைட் 10 o'clock வரைக்கும் உங்க பிரெயின் கான்சியஸ் பிரெயின்ல கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணி ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டாரு, you will become very tired, you will break. So you have, in order to save your brain energy, You have to perform like this. This is what we have inherited. Evolutionally, we got it, and we carry that in our genes. Now, even a complicated act that demands support, okay, sir, this is okay, go take left, right. But what about a very complicated act then everything you start doing it repeatedly. For example, for me, the most complicated act today is cooking. Chicken biryani, mutton biryani is the most difficult task for me. But I found, course of time I found it. I mean, if you start doing it repeatedly, eventually it becomes an effortless habit. That is what this book talks about. So research says that as many as 40% of the actions that we perform every day, morning 6 o'clock, night 10 மணிக்கு போற வரைக்கும், research says as many as 40% of the actions, 40%. It can vary this way or other. We perform each day, are based on habits. If you ask my wife, she will say that Oli doesn't use more than 10%. That's different. How habits are formed. This is very important. This is in the book, the very reason for I pick up this book and read is how do we really form a habit. That's important. It talks. I've read so many books on this topic, but I would say this is a book which has given me very clear-cut, simple action, simple terms. First, it says, the external cue is very, very important. External cue, the first point, if you have a paper pen, you write it. External cue is very, very important. For morning, 5:30 or 6 o'clock, for me, the alarm clock rings, then I wake up. Or if I see, sunshine on my window, I get up. So some cue is required. That creates an overall spike in my brain activity. My brain decides which action is appropriate for that situation. So harmony, when I bell achuna, I have to get up. Now what comes the next? I have to go to the restroom and breathe, right? Next comes the routine. So first is external cue, next comes the routine. That what I do, the moment I wake up, I go to the restroom, take a brush, and sila per ipo endhichuna nera enga poraanga, nera poi WhatsApp check பண்றாங்க. That becomes a routine. Why do we do this? What compels me to get into that action? இப்போ ஸ்மோக்கர்ஸ் கூட அதே ப்ராப்ளம் உண்டு. இப்போ ஒரு பிரேக் கிடைக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கலாம். when they go outside the building, ஒரு 4 பேர் சேர்ந்தா தானாவே ஒரு சிகரெட் எடுப்பார், பிடிப்பாங்க. So what is the cue there? So now this is a break. I should. That is the cue. It's a routine. Routine is we are conditioned. What has to follow. Now the most important point is why are we doing all this? அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப சிம்பிள்ங்க. Finally, you will get a reward. Whether I go and check my doctor, I get a reward because there is a message from my friends. If I go and smoke, I get that the nicotine touch கிடைக்குது. ஒரு காஃபி குடிச்சோன்னா ஒரு கிக் கிடைக்குது. இதெல்லாம் ரிவார்ட்ஸ் தான். So finally, நல்லதா கெட்டதான்னு இப்ப பேசல. We are only looking at it from an academic point. Finally, you get a reward, a feeling of success. And in this case, every morning if I go and brush my teeth, probably in that case, I get a minty, fresh, tingling sensation. அதுதானே அந்த minty fresh இதுதான் நான் கொடுக்குறேன் brushல, பேஸ்ட்ல. So my overall brain activity increases again as my brain registers the successful completion of the activity and reinforces the link between the cue and the routine. புரிஞ்சுச்சா? So why habit? இப்போ அடுத்த கொஸ்டின், இது habit. So habit ஒரு கியூ வேணும் எனக்கு. இப்போ நான் அப்படியே போயிட்டே இருக்கிற கார்ல பசிக்குது. If I look at மெக்டொனால்டோட சிம்பிள் பார்த்தோன்னே I get a cue. ஓகே, போய் சாப்பிடலாங்க. இறங்கி போய் நிறுத்துறோம், வாங்குறோம், சாப்பிட்டோம் ஒரு சந்தோஷம், மகிழ்ச்சி, ஃபுல் ஆயிடுச்சு ஸ்டமக். So that is the reward I'm getting it. Now you should understand every habit, whether it's good or bad. I'm not here to judge. You judge yourself. The reward that you're going to get. If I'm a compulsive smoker, yes, I enjoy smoking as much as you read a book. I enjoy smoking. But what is the reward that I'm going to get out of it? By reading, you acquire knowledge. By smoking, I'm going to end up with lung cancer, right? Okay. Why? Now the next question is, why habits stick with us? இது அடுத்த கேள்வி. சரிங்க சார், இன்னைக்கு இருக்குது, நாளைக்கு இருக்குது. Why it's going on? I know that it is not good for my health. Eating more chocolates, eating more fatty substances is not good for my heart. But what forces such habits to stick with us? That is the question now. Habits stick because they create a craving in us. That craving. So imagine in a afternoon for the every day when you go out of your office, you find a store where a delicious sugar chocolate cookies are served, a bakery. You go buy, eat every day. That afternoons you simply go there, buy and eat. You call it as a reward for your all day's work because you think that you've accomplished all the meetings well. Nothing wrong in eating one chocolate in that work, chocolate cookie, the chocolate chip cookie. But after some time, people say that you have put on a lot of weight, and why don't you look at? You wanted to re-look at yourself. So you wanted to kick out that habit. You decided that you should kick out that habit. Now you imagine, first day, நீங்க முடிவு பண்ணிட்டீங்க, நாளையில இருந்து அந்த பக்கம், அந்த கடை பக்கமே போகக்கூடாதா அப்படின்னு முடிவு பண்றோம். பட் நெக்ஸ்ட் டே ஆஃப்டர்நூன் சாப்பிட்டு முடிச்சோன்னா கால் அந்த பக்கமா நடந்து போகுது. அந்த கேஃப்டீரியா பார்த்தோன்னே நமக்கு ரெண்டு வீலா 2 சாய்ஸஸ். ஒன்னு, ஒரே ஒரு இடம், லெட் மீ ஹேவ் திஸ் குக்கி, இன்னைக்கு தான் லாஸ்ட் சிகரெட், லாஸ்ட் லெட் மீ ட்ரை அப்படின்னு இருக்கும். இல்லைன்னா I am not going to eat அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒரு வில் பவரோட போயிடுவோம். ஓகே, but the problem there is, if I go home, I will have a distinctly grumpy mood. Okay, so kicking a bad habit is hard because you develop a craving for the reward at the end of the habit loop. So the habit loop பார்த்தோம்ல, cue, activity and rewardல, அந்த reward தான் very very important the loopல. So simply kicking a habit, this bad habit, is very difficult because அந்த எண்ட்ல அந்த கிரேவிங் ஃபார் த ரிவார்ட் உங்களை அரிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்கும். இதுக்கு ஒரு பியூட்டிஃபுல் எக்ஸாம்பிள் பண்ணாரு. இவர் யாருன்னா உல்ஃப்ராம் ஷூல்ஸ். I don't know whether I pronounce his name right, but வச்சுக்கோம். The researcher was studying the brain activity the monkeys, macaque monkey அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி அந்த மங்கியை பண்றாரு. Let me put that slide for you, but this is not, again I said, nothing to do with the book, but சும்மா ஒரு ரிலீஃப் கிடைக்கும். எவ்வளவு நேரம் நீங்க என் ஃபேஸே பார்த்துருக்கு, அப்பப்போ இந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் டிஃப்ரெண்டான ஃபேஸ் பார்த்தாலும் கொஞ்சம் நல்லா இருக்கும். எது நல்லா இருக்குன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது, சாய்ஸ் இஸ் யுவர்ஸ். ஓகே, கமிங் பேக் டு தட், இதுதான் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இவர் என்ன பண்ணாருன்னா, இவரோட இந்த மங்கி பேர் ஜூலியோ கிட்டத்தட்ட அது எம் பேர் மாதிரி ஒலி மாதிரி ஜூலின்னு இருக்கு. Who was learning to perform various tasks. நிறைய வேலைகள் அந்த குரங்குக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்தாரு. In one experiment, Julio was placed in a chair in front of a screen. ஒரு ஸ்கிரீன் முன்னால உட்காருது, இந்த டிவியில ஒரு ஸ்கிரீன். Whenever some colored shapes were shown on the screen, Julio's task was to pull a lever. அதோட வேலை என்னன்னா, அங்க ஏதோ கலர் ஷேப்ஸ் வந்துட்டே இருக்கும். ஏதாவது ஒரு ஷேப் வந்தாலும் அது லீவரை பிடிச்சி இழுக்கணும் அந்த ஷேப். இதுதான் அதோட வேலை, ட்ரைனிங். பட் என்னன்னா, when we did a drop of blackberry juice உடனே பர்டிகுலர் ஷேப் வரும்போது a drop of blackberry juice would drip down on his lips through a tube கனெக்ட் பண்ணி அது பிடிக்கும். முதல்ல தெரிஞ்சுக்கங்க, ஜூலியோக்கு பிளாக்பெரி ஜூஸ் தான் ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். எனக்கு அதே மாதிரி தான் அந்த கிட்னி ஜூஸ்.
15 minutes.
Yes. 15. Okay. At first, Julio didn't pay much attention to the screen, but when he happened to pull the lever at the right moment, this triggered the blackberry juice reward. So his brain activity spiked, showing a strong pleasure response. Okay, every time it pulled the lever, it got that blackberry juice. As Julio gradually grasped the connection between seeing the shapes on the screen, pulling the lever, and getting the blackberry juice, he not only stared at the screen, but Schultz noticed that as soon as the shapes appeared, there was a spike in Julio's brain activity, similar to when he actually received the award. அதுக்கு முன்னால அதுக்கு ஜூஸ் சாப்பிடும் போது அதுக்குள்ள போகும்போது பிரெயின் there is a distinct change in the brain activities. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த ஷேப் வந்த உடனே இது this experiment was conducted even in the early of last century by Pavlov's experiment with a dog, right? பெல் அடிச்ச உடனே டாக் would be ready. அந்த சலைவால செக்ரியேட் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிடும். அதேதான் similar to that, but only thing is அங்க சலைவா பார்த்தாரு, இங்க ஆக்சுவல் பிரெயின் ஆக்டிவிட்டியே ஷூல்ஸால பார்க்க முடியுது. So he studied that actually. In other words, in the Julio, including people like us also, the brain, this is very important. The brain had begun anticipating the reward. That is very important. The anticipation is the neurological basis of craving and helps explain why habits are powerful. And the craving is what is driving us to the again and again to habit. Schultz then altered the experiment. Now what he has done is, Julio pulled the lever, either no juice would come or it would come in a diluted form. In Julio's brain, Schultz could now observe neurological patterns associated with desire and frustration. Julio got decidedly mope when he didn't get his reward. He was very, very upset, just as you might if you forewent your cherished end of the day cookie. So he could record it. So the good news is that craving works for forming good habits. So such cravings are very important. Forming good habits as well. For instance, a 2002 study from New Mexico State University showed that people who manage to exercise habitually actually crave something from the exercise, be it an endorphin rush in the brain, a sense of accomplishment, or the treat they allowed themselves. A group of people go for walking in Marina every Sunday morning because they never miss that. I don't know, it is the walking, or end of the walking, they all go to Sarana Bhavan and eat their hot pongal and vada. So, that reward is what is also leads to that. Okay. Now, since we don't have very time, we have to, go. It's also not an exercise to talk entirely about the book. Okay. So you understand that the craving is what solidifies to habit. Cues and rewards alone are not enough. Now, how businesses make use of this? A pioneer of this tactics is Claude Hopkins, the man who popularized Pepsodent toothpaste when countless other toothpaste brands had failed. What Claude Hopkins did was he provided a reward that creating craving, namely the cool tingling sensation that we have come to expect toothpaste to have. That sensation not only proved that the product worked, the pallu valakki mudichone ஒரு tingling sensation இருப்பாங்க. அது நமக்கு எல்லா பல்லு சுத்தமாயிட்டதா, அதுக்கும் பல்லு சுத்தமாறதுக்கும் சம்பந்தமே கிடையாது. ஆனா we get a satisfaction, we get a reward that yes, I have accomplished that task. Every day we begin to crave. How to change habit? How to change the habit if it's not one that is good for our life or health? Habits are very, very important, provided if they are healthy ones. Suppose it's a bad habit, how to change it? To change a habit, substitute the routine. Very, very important there. You cannot suddenly say, I'm going to give up. You have to substitute your routine for another and believe in the change. As anyone trying to give up cigarettes will tell you, smokers will tell you, when the craving for nicotine hits, it's hard to ignore. That's why the golden rule for quitting any habit is this: don't try to resist the craving. Redirect it. That's very important. In other words, you should keep the same cues and rewards, but change the routine that occurs as a result of that craving. That is what is very important. I can probably in the end, if I have time, I can give my own example of one such unhealthy bad habits. I can tell you, but now let me proceed further for want of time. Several studies on former smokers have shown that by identifying the cues and rewards around the smoking habits and replacing the routine with one that has a similar reward, such as doing some push-ups, Work பண்றப்ப push up பண்ண சொல்ல முடியுமான்னு தெரியல இந்த bookல இருக்கு. Or eating a piece of chocolate or simply relaxing for a few minutes, the chance of smoking free increases significantly. One organization that uses it talks about alcohol. This book talks about that AA association, Alcohol Anonymous, that talks about how they cure patients. So they ask people what exactly they crave from drinking. Usually, factors like relaxation and companionship are far more important than the actual intoxication. That's what they said. Okay, I got some notification. Anyway, AA then provides new routines that addresses about cravings such as going to meetings and talking to sponsors. So what exactly they said that the findings of that AA is that a frequent response was that the habit replacement method worked wonders. Really, it worked wonders. இந்த habitல இருந்து இன்னொரு habit மாத்த முடியும். You can redirect it. But என்ன ப்ராப்ளம்னா பட் as soon as a stressful event occurred, இப்போ எனக்கு ஏதோ ஒரு unfortunate event has happened, அதை யாரோ நினைவுபடுத்துறாங்க that again that stressful event has occurred, the old habit will simply too strong to resist, no matter how long the respondent had been in the program. It gives an example of an alcoholic person who got completely cured away from drinks for years. But suddenly, when he found that his mother was suffering cancer, and that stress has directed him to a bar, and then in his own words, he eventually he said this pretty much drunk for the next 2 years. So that means you will quickly fall back that. So that is very important. Finally, change can be achieved by focusing on keynote habits and achieving small wins. These are very important. The keynote habits and achieving small wins. What are these keynote habits? This is important. The keynote habits can help individuals change too. For instance, research indicates that doctors have a hard time getting obese people to make a broad change in their life. So, குண்டா இருக்கணும் ஒல்லியாகணும் அப்படின்னு எல்லாம் எவ்வளவு பண்ணாலும் முடியாது. But what they normally they say, when patients focus on developing one keystone habit is such as keeping a meticulous food journal. That is the list of food and drink that you consume every day. All other positive habits start to take root as well. The keynote habit, keystone habit, we need to identify and attack that. Keystone habits work by providing small wins, that is early successes that are fairly easy to attain. Developing a keystone habit helps you believe that improvement is possible in other spheres of life too, which can trigger a cascade of positive change. So that keystone habit is important. What kind of a keystone habit? One very important keystone habit that he suggests is willpower is the most important keystone habit. Willpower. So he gives a lot of one of the very interesting examples that he says that we all have heard about this also. It was conducted in 1960s by Stanford. In a room they kept children, and they also placed in front of them a marshmallow. They said that you should not eat that marshmallow for the next 15 minutes. If you resist completely for the next whole 15 minutes, you will get one more. In addition to that, you will get one more. Only 30% of the children managed to resist, and rest of them finished eating that. The interesting thing is the research didn't stop there. They tracked down the participants. When they became adult, they found that those who had exhibited the greatest willpower and waited that full 15 minutes and ended up with the best grades in school, were more popular on average and were less likely to have drug addictions. So willpower, it seems, was a keystone habit that could be applied to other parts of life also. So willpower is the key habit in a life. Okay, a bit of caution here. If you ever tried to start exercising more, Willpower can be highly inconsistent. You can't morning 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the night. You can't be highly for every activity and willpower because if you stretch more, it is like hitting the gym in a breeze or other on others. Leaving the sofa is not possible. Why is that? It turns out that willpower is actually like a muscle. It can also tire. If you exhaust it by concentrating on, say, a tedious spreadsheet of work, you might have no willpower left when you get home. So you should not also exhaust that. Now, friends, we have come to the end of my presentation because I wanted to stop here. There are two interesting case studies also present in that. But if I take them up now, then we will not have any questions. So finally, I wanted to tell you that following habits is not only a key part of our life, but also a key part of organizations and companies. So this is very important. All habits comprise a cue, told you, cue, routine, reward, loop. And the easiest way to change this is to substitute something else for the routine while keeping the cue and reward the same. Achieving lasting change in life is difficult, but it can be done by focusing on important keystone habits such as willpower. Thank you very much, my dear friends.